Are we allowed to say that we have favorite guests?
I think so.
I don't know if we're allowed to say that or not, but I swear to you, I have not laughed this hard in so long. Tashieka, so she's the director of payroll here for the group, and she is just so real.
Yes.
And blunt.
Yes.
And open. And this was
authentic.
Authentic.
The word, that's her word. She's an authentic dynamo.
Yeah. And this conversation just went all over.
Good luck, boys, editing this.
All over the place. Yeah, how are we going to get the best stuff from here? I don't know. But
There's
man, I'm excited to see this one.
Me too. We're excited for you to see it. Take a look.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
All right, let's get into a little bit about your background. So we already know you grew up in a military home. How did you end up here where you are?
Well, I want to first say the military portion came from me. My dad, you would call him militant because of how strict and how firm he was. But my military background came from when I joined the military and to how I was raised. So let's come to here, okay? As far as...
Wait, how long were you in the military?
I did 8 years.
Okay.
4 years
Wow.
and 4 years reserve. So how I got here. How did I get here? You meaning here at Hudson, career,
sitting
life,
in this chair
just
right
sitting in
now.
this chair? How did I get
We
here?
just want to know a little bit about your journey.
My journey started off, it was kind of rough, meaning that I was indecisive. I was just like any other 20-year-old, not knowing what I want to do.
We expect them to have all these
all
big plans
these
for
big
their
plans.
lives.
You know, how many of us have been pushed out or during high school, you start to think about your future and you think, gosh, what do I want to do? What do I want to be? Is it aligned with who I'm going to be when I'm 30? You don't even think about those kinds of things.
No.
It's just, okay, my parents told me I need to do this.
That's right.
The world, society says I need to do this in order to be successful. All of these different things, and it's kind of like you have to make your own decisions. So how did I get here? I was forced with either you're going to school or you're going in the military.
Okay.
Whichever one you want to choose. And if you go to school, you're going to probably get 2 years worth of earnings or my support as far as financial support, my parents saying this, or you're going to go in the military, whichever one. And I said, I'm indecisive about my career. What do I want to do? I don't want to do anything. I just want to drive my car and hang out with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do anything. I don't know what I want to do. So I said, okay, I'm going to go in the military.
Yeah.
And boy, was I in for a big surprise because I was the only child in the house. I have plenty of siblings. I was adopted by my dad when I was 3 years old. So it was, again, a lot of indecisiveness. But the military taught me one thing that, well, I wouldn't say it taught me. It continued my understanding of life, and that was discipline. And what it taught me was that in life, you can't be successful in any area without discipline. You have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
And anyone that is successful is disciplined. So I said I always loved numbers. I loved dealing with numbers. I loved dealing with people as well. But more so my background was I love numbers. I love numbers, and I need to get a start. I was always willing to learn. I was always willing to pay attention to details. I'm one of those details people. I analyze almost everything. It's kind of like, why is it that way? Why should it be that way? So when I'm an overthinker.
Okay.
I'm an overthinker. I've gotten better over the years because that's a part of growth.
Yes.
Because as a part of growth is learning not to overthink things, because sometimes it will lead you to the wrong thought
Really
or
good.
wrong perception, and it cannot always, or it's not always reality.
That's
Overthinking is not always reality. And so I started off in the car business back in 1999, 2000. And I started off as a receptionist. I turned down a job on Hilton Head, and back in the day, making $36,000 was a thing. It was kind of like for a teenager or a 20-year-old, fresh 21-year-old, however. $36,000 was a lot, but I was like, I don't want to go into this real estate thing or this office environment there. I want to go somewhere that I can learn different things. And at an early age, I knew that, okay, if I went into the automotive versus being a receptionist at this other firm that I was offered, I could probably do more. It's kind of like, how does this work? As a kid, you grow up, you take your car into service, your dad took your car into service or whatever, and you saw how this whole function worked. And I wouldn't say that the automotive industry was actually the first or the ideal, but I can say that inquiring minds wanted to know. And because my inquiring minds wanted to know, I started in the automotive industry as a receptionist. I worked my way up because after I learned about, and I was actually a service cashier at the time as well, I learned how to read service tickets. And it's kind of like, how does this fit on the back end when it comes down to the accounting piece, et cetera? How does the cost of sale, how do you make money as a dealership with you providing this service and having this service ticket? How do you make money as a dealership when you're selling cars? And these are the things that are going through my head.
I love that curiosity.
Yes.
I wouldn't call myself that curious of a person. I usually take things for face value, but I feel like you're a pretty curious person. But I love that curiosity.
Yeah, I'm very inquisitive. It's like I want to know why. Again, sometimes, but I will go back and say my overthinking has digressed over the years, okay? But at an early age, I saw how things were going, and I can say as I developed and as I wanted to learn more, once I mastered one thing, there were people out there that saw, geez, she may have potential. You know, she has that potential. She knows how this works. She knows how this operates. She wants to learn more. And over the years, I just went through almost every position in the dealership except parts. And I said, this is good. But the main area that I loved and my focus, it was the accounting area and payroll. And I've worked for 4 groups since I started my career in 99. That's minimal, I would say, for, the car business. You have people that have worked for multiple dealerships. But I worked for 4 groups in my history, and started with Hudson in 2015, and I've been here ever since. This year makes 10 years, as a matter of fact, on September 15th. So
there's something really interesting about this dynamic. I'm talking to 2 people that are both from military backgrounds, right?
Yes.
Military.
So whose home do you think was more strict?
I don't know. Faith and I have had deep conversations about our childhood.
Yes.
And if we were to reveal most of what happened to us as a child, our parents probably would be in jail.
It's very possible.
So I can't say that my upbringing was any stricter than Faith. And I can't say that, I don't know. There's no equation for it. You can't equate.
But it is interesting because it really made us who we are. And
oh my gosh!
Although there are a lot of differences between Tashieka and I, there are a lot of similarities.
A lot of
between
similarities.
us. And part of that is, our work ethic, how we view different situations and different things, and all, so. It was interesting. There were some interesting times for sure, but and then
except the fact that there was one thing from my childhood that I learned, and obviously Faith didn't grasp it, and that was being courteous to others while they're driving and obeying the traffic rules. But besides that, there were similarities.
Let me tell you, I learned to drive in my. I learned how to drive in. My dad had a paper route. So after he got out of the military, he became a pastor, and then he had a paper route that he was doing, to supplement the income and all of that. Anyway, I learned how to drive on my dad's paper route. So it was 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And we had this station wagon. It was a stick shift, and the lights didn't work, only the brights worked. So you had to hold the lights on while you were like driving.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And stuff like that. And like you know, you had your stick and like the brakes didn't really, you had to pump the brakes like 5 times before they would go. So like pump, 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 pump. Okay.
Build up that pressure.
That's how I learned how to drive. And so, you know, there might have been a little aggressiveness born out of that. But also, I'll tell you, I told you about how my mom stands in lines. And I swear, like, these podcasts all about my family.
So we're all working through our issues.
I tell you how my mom stands in line while she drives the same way. And so, you know, you learn some things.
I see.
And you learn some things.
That,
You learn a lot of things.
Her mom waited her entire life,
That's right.
and she refuses to wait. I think that's what the synopsis is,
That's
correct?
just what I heard.
I heard that. Okay, good. Good. And both of us are from the low country.
Yeah,
you know, we're from the low
we
country
are.
of South Carolina,
Yep.
and things were
Oh.
different. Faith was Buford. I was 20 miles away from her, and
Where the Murdochs grew.
yes. Listen, let's not talk about the Murdochs again.
What are the Murdochs?
Are you kidding
You don't know
me?
Alec Murdoch?
Alec
the
Murdoch?
murder mystery straight from the Low Country?
No.
Let me just say this: before it even all happened,
Yeah.
or before it became spotlight, and before it came news, us locals knew about it.
I have to tell you this.
Whoa.
We knew
was-
exactly what happened, when it happened,
Who?
did what.
You got some connections
Whoa.
in there too.
Yes, we locals, and I probably shouldn't say this,
It's all right.
and I'm not going to.
Okay.
I don't want this to be on CNN somewhere. We need to strike that from the recording. I didn't say that.
It's all
Can I just
digital,
say-
so if you don't like
Can I
it, it
just
never
tell you
happens.
this? Like,
We need to take some of that
Sean,
out.
I was like, I remember
This is
getting
so
ready for
interesting.
I remember getting ready for bed one night, and Sean was telling me about this thing that he had heard in the news about like this family that was from
It's
like
a
where I
lawyer
grew
family,
up.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
from where I grew up, and all that like this stuff was
So
happening.
funny.
But this is before like it broke
Look.
big into the news, and so I was like,
Wow.
cool, right? I just like offhand listened to him. I'm getting ready for bed, and then one day we were headed to Charlotte or something like that, and we like to listen to podcasts when we do road trips, and so we picked out this podcast. I was like, oh, I think this is a story you were telling me about. This is like local family, and there's all this like mysterious like weird stuff happening. So we like listened to the podcast all the way up there. When we went to a game, while we were in the game, like I think we were eating dinner or something after the game, and the news broke about him. Like, well, we didn't know it at the time. We did know it, but it wasn't known at the time that he killed his wife and his son. And that's when that happened. That same day that we had listened to that whole podcast on the way up there.
Oh my
And then it
gosh.
was like breaking news that he killed his wife and
Wow.
his son, and it was.
Wow.
Well, even before that, and I have to say throughout the whole trial, throughout everything that was happening, I think Faith connected with me maybe once or twice as she was listening to the podcast. And I would say, oh, well, did you know this part about
Yeah.
this? And then the next day or the next week, the podcast aired it. New discovery. And I said, I told you. I said,
Wow.
it's like the locals knew.
They pushed
Yeah.
their housekeeper
Yes.
down the stairs, right?
Correct. It was like the locals knew about all of this stuff that happened for years, but no one ever. And she was like, "You were right," and I said, "I told you."
That's cool. So
It
like,
was
'cause people
crazy.
talk, you know, people
Oh,
talk.
and two, it's that small town secret thing.
Yes.
You know, every town has a small town secret.
That's true.
Every town, every small. Man. That saying, "Don't try that in a small town." It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could tell I'm not a local.
Yeah.
Like I'm just vaguely familiar with this. I think it was a lawyer family.
So you're a cumya, not a binya.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
you know
they-
the difference?
Yeah.
Have you heard that before?
No, but like
Okay.
I really like that.
Yeah.
A lot of
Charleston?
explanatory yield out of that.
The locals would say you're a cumya. That means you came here. If you lived here all your life, Southern, then you're a binya. So you have a cumya and a binya. Okay, so
It's-
you're a cumya.
I'm a and I think
Okay.
it's probably people like me who are the reason for such deplorable driving.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's everyone coming from all these different parts of the country.
Let's be angry at Caleb.
Get him, boys!
Well, let's not leave out those whose parents waited in lines all their lives and they refuse to now. So I can't say that it's all of you Kumyas. It's a few of the Binyas that are doing it too. Okay? Yes.
Oh, it's so funny. People who are trying to work out their childhood.
Yes. All of us try to work out of our childhood.
We do.
Right?
That's very
Come
true.
on now.
That
We
is
all
true.
have
All
something in us
different
that
ways.
that screams, she must have been raised like that. Don't we all?
Yes.
Don't we all? Can't you look at someone and said, they must have been raised like that?
We absolutely
Yes,
do.
everyone has that.
Yes.
Interesting.
That's so interesting.
Well,
Is that not true?
That
well,
is
I
true.
wouldn't eat from
Yeah.
their
You're over the
house.
target.
Yes.
Yeah, you're over the target.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Well,
Who knows?
I like what she was saying, that when she was in New Orleans, that it was like 8:00 and he was like getting ready for bed.
Yeah, at 10, we went to sleep because we laid down because the sun, it was hot. And around 10:30, it was like he was snoring. And I'm like, no, wake up. Like, we got to put on
but
our next
Tashieka-
round of clothes.
Listen,
I
I
know.
gotta say that I've called Tashieka at 6:30 before, and she's been in her bed. So, like, I don't understand.
I go to bed
Yeah.
on a work day, 8:00.
Yeah.
You call me after
Dig
8:30,
it.
you better be dying. Okay? Otherwise, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call you at 4:30 in the morning when I wake up.
Because that's the equivalent.
Is my phone off mute though? My phone number's not
I have
mute.
some
Mine
priority
is on
emails
mute.
and I have some priority calls, and you better be dying if you call me after 8:30. I'm telling, even my entire family knows this because I get them back by calling them at 4:30 in the morning. Hey, you called me last night? Oh yeah, I didn't really want. Oh, okay, so now you know how it feels. Okay,
Oh,
because
my
that's
gosh.
the difference in my sleep time versus your sleep
Tashieka
time.
and I have a joke. I'll be like, I'll call you first thing in the
Morning.
morning.
And I'll say, my first thing or
Or
your first thing? Because my first thing is 5 o'clock.
I'm like, I'll call you
Oh
my
my
first thing in the morning.
Love it
Yes.
so much. But it
Yes.
also speaks to how purpose built you are when you're in New Orleans. Like, it's different.
Different. I got to change a mode.
Yeah.
Exactly. I can do it in an instant.
Yeah.
And revert back as soon as I return home.
Did you wake him up?
I sure did.
Okay.
You thought we weren't going to Frenchman Street and Bourbon Street and hitting the streets? We were for the streets that entire weekend. Okay? Period. And we enjoyed ourselves. It was his first time in New Orleans.
Okay, but Bourbon Street, it smells like piss.
It
It's
didn't smell like
disgusting.
pee. And you see the memes, you'll see the
Yeah.
TikTok videos, all of them where they talk about how it smells and not to wear flip flops
Oh, yeah.
or anything.
open toe.
Open toe, right?
Yeah.
I went
But
there one
no.
time and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna come back to
Frenchman
this area.
Street is more mature,
Yeah,
and that's
yes.
where we did most of our
Yeah.
hanging out on Frenchman and Decatur. And it was more mature because you got the shops down there,
Yeah.
whatever. That's what
Yeah.
we did. We
Yeah.
did Bourbon Street maybe twice.
Casino? Did you do casino?
No, we don't do casinos.
Okay.
The last time I did a casino, I lost money in Vegas. And let me tell you
happens.
something. At 4
Was
o'clock
that
in
with
the
you and
morning.
Heidi?
Yes. And Heidi and I went to Vegas, and I lost like $800. I was up $1,500. I had won $1,500, and I
Heck
was
yeah.
like, boom, I'm going back in or whatever. I
Yeah.
lost that $800
So fast?
so fast. Heidi woke up around 7 o'clock in the morning, and she calls me. She was like, where are you? And I said, I'm back at the casino. I need to get my money back. Okay? I could not sleep. Okay? Over $800, while there are people that lose $8,000.
It's true.
And they sleep well. I was like, I'm not leaving here without
I get
my...
like $50 out when I go to a casino. I'm like, $50. Double it or
Yes.
lose it. That's it.
I had $500 to lose. And
Yeah.
that was it.
Yeah.
And I was like, mm-mm.
What were you playing?
I was playing blackjack, and I
Yeah.
was playing the card game where and that's the thing, I don't even know how to gamble.
See,
It was like,
this
and
is
the slot
helpful.
machine-
Playing Texas Hold'em?
No, I didn't play no Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did the slot
Uh-huh.
and blackjack. Where
Okay.
they rolled and they pass
Yes.
the cards out, and you get matching numbers, matching cards, or whatever.
See, this is what I've been
Are
wondering
you
about.
explaining to us right now about how to play blackjack?
Yes.
See, this is cool.
And that's why I shouldn't have gambled, okay? Because they saw me coming from a long way, and they said, "Ha, we got a sucker. We're about to take her money."
I need you to give me that explanation again on how you play blackjack.
They roll the dice.
Nice.
Wait, I don't think that's blackjack.
What is it?
Blackjack is where you...
Wait, explain the cards, explain the game, and then we'll try
Okay,
to
so
tell
if you
what
got
it
a
is.
queen, they
Okay.
deal the cards,
Uh-huh.
and then they flip it. And if you got a queen,
Good so far.
then if you got a matching queen, then that's it. If not, you got something close to it. But if you get over the amount of the queen and the card you have, it's like 18 or 21 or something
20.
like.
Yeah, you got it. You got
Okay,
it.
but you said something about dice, and so that
You got
just
it.
threw me off for a minute.
So what is that called?
That's blackjack.
That's
What you
blackjack.
described, that's blackjack. That's what I would play.
You gotta stop confusing me.
But you said dice.
This was 4 years ago. Okay.
But that's-
Oh,
3
not the
years-
recent trip.
No, that was California we did recently.
Oh.
But this is what I've been wondering about because I know how to play blackjack to an extent.
I'm
but
like,
I've,
what's your casino game?
well, it would be blackjack, but I've never sat down at a table before because you can do things like you can split, you know, you can
Yeah.
you can double, and like you
Yeah.
can do all this stuff. And I was always intimidated when I went on that conference in Maryland. There was a casino in there. I almost sat down, but I didn't know all the rules, so I got intimidated.
I
But
Well,
love
you should have been
I love
intimidated.
that casino, by the way.
In Maryland?
Yes.
I love it. That's the
That's the National Harbor one.
National
Yeah,
Harbor,
yeah.
MGM.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
yeah,
I love
it's
that
an amazing
casino.
casino.
Yes, I just
wish I
love
would've-
hanging out in there.
Detroit
the
has some really good casinos
Real-
too.
MGM is very nice out of National Harbor and the shops around that area. I love. That's where
It
we're
is.
staying when we go to Baltimore.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's so nice there.
Yeah.
It's so nice there.
Yeah, I have the patience of a horse, meaning that I'm one that don't want to lose.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's kind of like, what can I do? What can I do to help this employee? And of course, I had interaction with Tom, but I saw the way that he operated, and I said I would never want to work for that man. Never want to work for that man. Is it my fault or is it the ball's fault?
Is that a slip it in?
That's a slip in.
Oh,
I'm falling even faster